Hey everyone, my name is Jessie. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am doing my series update video. So I'm going to talk about all of the series that I managed to complete in 2020 and then the series that I started and need to finish for next year. So I have a lot to talk about. I'm gonna go ahead and get right into it. So for the series that I completed this year, that would include the First Law trilogy by Joe Abercrombie, which I listened to this on audiobook. The narrator, Stephen Pacey, was amazing. I highly recommend experiencing this series through audio if you can, because it's so fantastic. I really enjoyed this. I had a great time with these characters. I'm really excited to continue on in the First Law universe now and see how Joe Abercrombie apparently just gets better and better. I also completed Lord of the Rings for the first time. Yes, I'm sad to say that this was my first time reading this series, and oh my goodness, I loved it. It's one of my top favorite fantasies of all time. I get it. I love these characters so much in this story. So I'm so glad I finally read this one. I also finished the Winter Night trilogy, which is another new favorite series of all time. Oh my goodness. The first book is, I think, the weakest in this series. So if you enjoy the first book or you find it pretty good and you're not sure whether to continue, the second and third books are phenomenal in my opinion. The first book is just much slower. So stick with it. If you start it and you're like, I'm not sure if I want to continue, oh my God, it gets so fantastic. Ugh. Vasya, the main character in this, is just one of my favorites ever. It's so good. So very happy I finished this trilogy. I also completed the Nevernight trilogy, which was very good. I overall really enjoyed this series. I know that the writing style is not going to be for everyone, especially with just how quirky it is. There's footnotes. It's very weird, and you might not love the characters, but I just really enjoyed Mia. I really enjoyed the writing style. It almost felt like J. Kristoff wasn't taking himself very seriously when he was writing this, and the humor in it just kind of worked for me. So I enjoyed Dark Dawn. I thought it was a good conclusion, but I think my favorite is still God's Grave. So very happy I completed this. And sticking with J. Kristoff, I also finished the Lifelike trilogy, which was so fun. This is a YA sci-fi trilogy that I think is really good. I think it's great for older readers as well as younger readers because it gets very dark. All three of these books I thought kept pacing up. They were action-packed, tons of twists and turns. The world building can be hard to get into, and if you don't like J. Kristoff's writing from other stories you've read, I don't think you would necessarily like this, but I personally like his writing, so it worked for me, but there's just a lot of slang in this book that takes a while to get used to. I really liked it, so I'm very happy I finished this as well. I also started and finished the Themis Files trilogy this year, and oh my goodness, another one that if you can experience this story on audio, I highly recommend it. The audiobooks were fantastic. Every character is narrated by someone different, and they almost have like, not sound effects, but just effects in the book that really immerse you in the story. They're so good. So I highly recommend these. I think they're so fantastic. Unfortunately, the third book was a pretty big disappointment for me, but the first two books were so fantastic that I still look back on this series very fondly. So it's definitely one of my favorite, I think, sci-fi trilogies. I just wish the third book was a little bit stronger, but still, I highly recommend checking this one out for yourself. So good. I also read the Monsters of Verity duology by V.E. Schwab. Really enjoyed this duology. The world building in it is very unique, very dark. This is Victoria Schwab's YA fantasy duology, and I gotta say, for YA, it gets pretty darn dark, and I really like the morally gray characters that she builds up in this story. I really like the premise where every act of violence creates a monster, and depending on the level of violence, of the act, it can create more deadly monsters. So it's just such a cool concept. I highly recommend checking it out, especially if you like Schwab in general. I also completed the Book of the Ancestor trilogy, which I really enjoyed. I thought it was very good. I would say the strongest one was definitely Grey Sister. Oh my goodness, Grey Sister I loved so much. But the first and third books were still very good, just not quite as good as the second one. So I would recommend this series overall, especially if you like assassins, if you like school settings. The world building is pretty unique, and the magic system is not very hard. It's a little bit soft in terms of just not having very clear rules on how to use the magic, but it's still such a different, unique magic system that I really enjoyed. I also just really like these characters. I really like Nona, and all of her friendships with her classmates and such is one of my favorite things about this series. So the characters I thought were fantastic, and overall I do recommend this trilogy if you're wanting to check it out. But my favorite's definitely Grey Sister. I also finished the Giver Quartet this year, and I read The Giver last year and loved it so much that I had to continue on. I knew that the second and third book didn't necessarily follow the same character from the first book, but I still just wanted to continue because I was a huge fan of the writing, of the themes, of the world, and I'm super glad I did. I will say the first book is still the best. You could very easily just read The Giver and be done with it and not miss out on too much, but I will say Sun, the fourth book, was really good. So if you're willing to read these and make it up to Sun, it has some closure that you may have been missing from The Giver, and it's a really great conclusion. The second and third books are a little bit weaker, I think, not quite as strong, but they're not very long. So if you loved Giver, then continue on. If you were just so-so on The Giver, I wouldn't continue on. It works as a standalone very well. And then, oh my goodness, this was like a long time coming. I finally finished the Throne of Glass series with Kingdom of Ash. I only had to read Kingdom of Ash, but Kingdom of Ash is huge, so it was quite daunting. And I gotta say, this series is really good. The problem I had with it was I got the first couple on paperback, and so I had to keep waiting for the paperback editions to come out if I wanted my set to match. And I'm that kind of person where I need my books to match if they're in the same series. So I was waiting for paperbacks. And so a year or longer would pass by between me reading books, and I think this is a series that is much better suited with binging. There's a lot of characters, a lot of different plot threads going on that you might forget about if you aren't a rereader or take a little while between books. That was my problem with it. I really want to reread this whole series and see how I like it if I just kind of binge it. Overall, I thought this conclusion was really excellent. I had a great time with Kingdom of Ash. I think this series, as it goes on, definitely gets more mature, and even though it starts as a very young adult fantasy tropey book, it becomes very quickly, I think, more adult, much more mature, and I really enjoyed it. So I really like the Throne of Glass series. I think it's great, and if you're wanting to try it and you don't like the first couple books, stick with it because you might like how epic in scale this series gets. It gets really good, you guys. So I enjoyed it. I really liked this conclusion. So those were all the series I completed this year. There are just two that I didn't necessarily complete, but I at least caught up to where the series stops. And that would be Stormlight Archive. So this is going to be a 10-book series, and this is only the fourth book. It is going to be broken up into two separate story arcs, apparently, that are 5 books long each. So technically, this is the second to last book in the first arc of Stormlight Archive, but I love this. I have a full review of it if you want to check it out. So I'm all caught up with Stormlight Archive. And I also started and caught up on the Founders trilogy by Robert Jackson Bennett. The first 2 books are out in this trilogy, and the third book has no information on it. I do not know when it's coming out. No information whatsoever. I'm very scared about that. But I love this series so much. If you haven't heard me talk about this series already, I talk about it a lot because it's one of my favorites and I can't recommend it enough. It is so good and they're so pretty. They're so pretty. All right, now let's get to the stressful part of this video. All of the series that I need to complete for next year. This is a lot. Starting with the Pattern Master series by Octavia Butler. I read Wild Seed this year. I really enjoyed this. It's so different, so unique, so cool. So I love this and I really wanted to continue on. I think there's 4 books total in this series, so this is one that I definitely want to finish in 2021. The Expanse, starting with Leviathan Wakes by James S.A. Corey. I read the first book for Shelf Space Book Club Pick 1 month, and I had fun with this. It was pretty good in my opinion. There were some definite flaws to it that reduced my enjoyment just a bit, but I enjoyed it enough to continue on with the series. This is 9 books long. It's a really long series. So yeah, it'd be great to finish it, but I don't know if I actually will. We'll see how far I can get in this series. The Poppy War, one of my new favorite fantasy books ever. So fantastic. I have a full review if you want to check it out. Oh my god, I love this, and I need to read The Dragon Republic and Burning God so bad. I don't know, like, what is wrong with me? Why don't I just binge these series? I don't know. I don't have answers for you, but I need to get better about that. So definitely want to finish the Poppy War trilogy. Same exact thing with Malice by John Gwynne. It was another shelf space pick for this year, and I ended up loving this so much. The beginning was a little rough, but by the end, I was so in love. And if I hadn't thought the beginning was so rough, this would be easily a 5-star read. It's 4.5 for me right now. But I can't wait to continue on with the series because the ending of this book is so fantastic and so epic. And I can't believe I haven't continued on. What is wrong with me? So I have to finish Faithful and the Fallen next year. I just have to. His Dark Materials by Philip Pullman. I need to read the next 2 books in this trilogy. I really enjoyed Northern Lights. It's a middle grade, you know, so it's not made for me, but it was very cute and I liked it. So I'm definitely going to continue on and finish the rest of the trilogy. I'm excited about it. Lightbringer, another one. I read the first 2 books in this series. Loved them. Oh my god. So much fun. Love the characters. Love the writing style. So fast-paced. So easy to read. The magic system is like the coolest. There's a lot of criticism around this series. I will give you a warning here because there is a lot of people that think these books are sexist or think that they contain sexist content. I'm not saying any of those people are wrong. It didn't bother me personally, but if you are avoiding that kind of stuff, maybe don't pick this up. But I personally loved it. And I thought it was really fun. So I definitely want to finish this series next year. I'm very excited about it. The Witcher. This book I have mixed feelings on. Or this series I have mixed feelings on. I really like the short story collections. I really enjoyed them. The series itself, though, not as much. I thought the first 2 books in this series, Blood of Elves and Time of Contempt, were they were so-so. They were fine. Didn't love them, but then Baptism of Fire, I really enjoyed again. Like that was one that reignited my love for Witcher. And I just really love the characters in this series. So I'm definitely going to continue on. I want to finish the series, but this one I am a little bit more mixed on than some of the others. And then just a couple that I just need to read 1 book for. 1 book and then I'm done. Why don't I just read these? I just finished them, Jessie. What are you doing? A Beautifully Foolish Endeavor by Hank Green, the follow-up to An Absolutely Remarkable Thing, which I thought was so good. It was so much fun. I loved it. I love that book. It is an adult sci-fi duology. This is the only other book. I just need to read it. Just get to it, Jessie. Why are you delaying? Bloody Rose by Nicholas Eames. I really enjoyed Kings of the Wild. I thought it was a lot of fun. The humor worked for me. I thought it was just a fun romp of a time, and I really want to read the next book in preparation for the third book coming out in 2021. So definitely want to get to Bloody Rose. Heart of Flames by Nikki Palpretto. I really enjoyed Crown of Feathers. I thought it was pretty good. Good enough for me to continue on in this series. This is a big book though. I'm like kind of intimidated by how big this book is, but I just need to get to it. The third book is coming out, I believe, in 2021. So if I enjoy this, I can just wrap it up this year and be done with it. I just need to read these books. So those are all of the series that I completed this year or that I started and need to finish for next year. Did you see any of your favorites? Definitely let me know in the comments down below. What series was your favorite that you read this year? I would love to know. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you want to, and I will see you all in my next one.